Just 5 days ago, Rishi Sunak denied any plans for a national service scheme. Just 5 days ago. And just 2 days ago, the Defence Minister for the Tories also rejected and refused to admit any plans for national service to be implemented in the UK. Now you need to listen to this next part. At the moment, they are currently saying that there is no plans to send anyone to jail if they refuse the national service scheme. And they also say there's no plans to send the teenagers to war zones during national service. Now, watch how quickly this all changes with the ever-growing threat from Russia.
Hi TikTok, sorry to be breaking into your usual politics-free feed, but I'm making a big announcement today and I've been told that a lot of you already have some views on it. So, first thing, no, I'm not sending everyone off to join the army. What I am doing is proposing a bold new model of national service for 18-year-olds. They'll be able to choose to spend 12 months in a full-time military commission or 1 weekend per month volunteering in roles within your local community, like delivering prescriptions and food to elderly people, or in search and rescue. This will give all young people valuable life skills, make our country more secure, and build a stronger national culture. Plus, people will receive best-in-class training in critical skills from cyber to civil engineering and leadership.
If you can fix your parents' iPad, then you can fix an Apache helicopter. And if you can make a get ready with me, then you can make a get ready with me on the front line. And if you can rot in bed, then you can rot in a trench. Born in the noughties, but made to do national service.
Guys, can we just talk about the fact that Rishi Sunak is trying to bring back national service? Is he having a laugh? What the actual fudge is that about? I will not be going into the army, hun. Unless you've got nail techs, fake tan, and endless supply of makeup, then I won't be joining. I'm no good to the army. Haven't shot a gun in my life. Well, I have actually, but it was one of those ex-boyfriends. I don't even know what you call them. Wasn't a proper gun anyway. I would be dangerous in the army. Like, I would shoot a soldier on my own bloody team or country or whatever it's called. No, hun. And Madison, like, do I have to worry about Madison joining the army when she turns 18? Because I'm telling you now, if there was anyone that is not equipped to join the army, it is my daughter. The girl has a meltdown if her hair doesn't look good for school. Jesus Christ. She would not cope well in the army. The girl is just not, that's not for her. That life is not for her, I'm telling you. So yeah. Rishi, I don't know what you're playing at, mate, but it ain't going to work. I honestly think that he's just bored of doing that job. I just feel like he doesn't want to do that job anymore. He's just decided, oh, what can I chuck out there to ensure that I don't get voted in again?
I think I would choose the volunteering because I am in a privileged enough position that I would be able to integrate that into my day-to-day life. There are so many young people, young carers, people who are the breadwinners of their family. It comes from such a privileged standpoint to think, oh, well, everybody's going to be able to do this. It's not going to take that much time. These are people's lives. And, you know, not everyone has the resources to just mess about and do a weekend volunteering.
Rishi Sunak has said that he's going to make people do a mandatory military service when they turn 18. Let me explain. So there's a general election on the 4th of July. Rishi Sunak has said if the Tories win the general election, he'll bring back national service. So basically what this means, he's doing a plan which would see 18-year-olds given the choice of a full-time military placement for 12 months, obviously a year. Or basically if you don't want to do that, you can volunteer for 1 weekend a month for a year. Do like community service. Mate, what? Now listen to me, Mr. Sunak. Thank you, but no thank you. Thing is with this, it doesn't matter if you're a male or female. Whatever gender you are, right, you have to do this. You might be thinking, oh, well, surely I could just say no. Like, they can't force me to do it. Yes, they can. That's exactly what they can do. Basically, if you refuse and don't do one of these things, you could be potentially facing, like, non-criminal sanctions, which isn't a good thing. But thank God, like, if this does happen, we have, like, ages to wait. But wait, no, we don't. September 2025. Rishi said that he's doing this because he wants to bring back the national spirit. I'll tell you one way to bring the national spirit back. Get rid of Rishi Sunak!
Let's go.
And I know that this question is on lots of people's minds, and the simple answer is no, they wouldn't go to prison. It's right that those who contribute to our system are rewarded, and those who refuse receive none of the benefit, and the Royal Commission will explore an appropriate incentives regime for this.
I'm done with whiny young people that are so weak and pathetic nowadays. They're so woke, they're so snowflakey. They need to step up, and I would like to be an example of that. I think a lot of people in my generation would definitely be up for it. I think it's a great idea. I think national service should come back, and I think it should be reminiscent to peacetime national service in 1949, where we were conscripting 17 to 21-year-olds, and they were serving 18 months in the armed services. Even look at Sweden. They've got the defence service out there. I think we should look to countries like Sweden as an example.
All about clubbing, doing cat shacking birds. So whatever your plans are for the future, just don't include me in them.
So I've been away for a bit and I saw that the Tories want young people to do a form of civic national service. It's a policy that's been suggested for years by the Tories. It just gets recycled every once in a while because their core voter base love it, despite the majority of them never having actually done it. It's being proposed as a way of helping young people. Now, when I think of things that will help young people, I think of affordable houses, fair wages, investment in mental health services, effective action against climate change, access to good education, and pints capped at £3. Not glorified scouts. Also, as young people, we already do national service. It's called working in retail and hospitality. Most young people have worked in either retail or hospitality, and it shapes who you are and defines how you view everything, particularly the general public. Like, you do have to take a step back sometimes and realise that some people are allowed to drive, vote, use scissors unsupervised. You realise that the world is a scary place. From the age of 16, I was under constant verbal artillery from customers who look like Nadine Dorries. That turns boys into men.
Don't worry, Rory, I can tell you why you're wrong without abusing you. National service definitely has a lot of benefits, but the problem is trying to solve two things with one solution. Because on the one hand, the UK Army is facing massive under-recruitment problems, and on the other, young people are increasingly disillusioned with society. The reason why national service works in Scandinavia is because they like their government and have a history of it. Apart from the World Wars, we've never had conscription in the UK. We've never needed to. We haven't been invaded by a foreign power successfully since 1066. Oh, Brits. And let's be honest, no one in the UK has any real faith in the government. So when we start using words like conscription, military, service, and it's all tied to the state, people are instantly turned away. Army under-recruitment should be seen as a separate issue. Trying to force young people to join is like putting a plaster over an amputated leg. But 100%, we need some actual new programs which give young people a purpose in life and provide a bit of national identity. We already have stuff like the Duke of Edinburgh and the NCS Awards. They are an absolute joke. But they really offer no benefit. People say when you apply to it and pay them like £400 to do it, oh, you could put it on your CV. Yeah, no.
From Kieran, thank you. Now, as is the case in other countries, we'll provide a stipend to help with living costs for those doing the military element alongside their training. Meanwhile, on the civic side, we'll make sure organisations have funding for training and administration.
One of the things that I find most interesting about this national service kind of idea at the moment, which is one of the most wacky, god-awful ideas that politics has come up with, is that there's so many people who back in the year 2020 were like, they can't force me to get a vaccine, are all now very much pro forcing other people, young people, to do what they don't want to do against their will. And it just really goes to show, doesn't it, that the idea of a free culture and free speech and freedom of choice doesn't really mean that in the eyes of a lot of people. It means you can't make me do something, but I'm happy for you to make them do something. So I find that just utterly fascinating.
You're going to make people volunteer for an army, potentially put their lives at risk, come back, go to university, be strapped with like a lifetime of debt, and then not ever be able to afford a house. It's just a bit of an insult, really.
Have you ever been spoken to by CCHQ about a policy like this?
No, I don't. CCHQ's attitude is to not consult anyone, really. It's just what they say goes.
Do you think you are an outlier? Do you think there are other young Conservatives who feel the same way?
Like, after the announcement was made, I think everyone was just a bit gobsmacked, really, that that was the policy they were going down. So I don't think anyone thought that was at all on the register at all. But then Rishi seems to have thought that's the way to get reform voters back.
You're not a fan of Rishi Sunak, are you?
No, not at all.
Terrible. I think the young people don't agree with the Tories anyways, and I think it's not going to engage the young people at all. No one's going to listen to the army service because we're not back in the 1940s.
I mean, I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, especially with now we've got so much freedom of what we choose to do, and like what would that mean for like uni life and like being able to go into work and stuff like that. I mean, I guess it's because it's constriction of like where you have to do it. It kind of takes away that choice, which it then takes away your motivation to kind of get into it. I mean, I know it would be beneficial for people to work in the NHS and maybe have a bit more of an understanding of how difficult that is, but I think forcing people into it isn't necessarily the right way to get that across.
I think that's a bad idea across the board. How is it going to be financed?
Yeah,
the Tories keep going on about what things cost.
I'd do like a weekend working for like the NHS. Yeah, that'd be fine for me. But
so it does have its. You can
yeah,
see
there's some parts that sound good. Other parts, if it's like taking a whole year out of my life, no.
I think it's so funny. It's ridiculous.
You heard about the new national service plan from the Tories. What do you think of it?
Nonsense.
Not brilliant.
I wouldn't do it.
Like, we get it. You're trying to get the old, like, 70-year-old community, like, camaraderie. But it's like, that's not modern Britain. Like, what are you doing?
I think it's a made-up, stupid idea. Just try and get some very, very old people's attention.
It kind of seems like the country's at war, but we haven't been advised of it formally.
The kids who are having to go and do it don't even get to vote. They're all 18 and they won't get to vote yet, so I think it's a bit pathetic that they don't even get to make their decisions. Just the older generations, once again, are destroying the future.
I wouldn't call this national service. Well, the first half at least. I'd call the first half community service, because this is only one weekend per month for 1 year only. And it's not even army, it's helping your local community. So I think that's a good policy, and I would just call it national community service instead.
But the thing is that Rishi Sunak talks about volunteering, but there's no volunteering about it. You'd have to either join the military for a year or do this one weekend.
No, I wouldn't call it volunteering especially, but I am quite in favour of the scheme, of the first half especially. I am in favour of the scheme, but not the delivery of it. I wouldn't call it, national service.
But the idea, when we look at what Rishi Sunak is promising pensioners today with this triple lot plus, I mean, you don't feel in the least bit hard done by that the best offer is volunteering your own time 1 weekend a month for which you won't be paid?
I don't mind volunteering 1 weekend a month because it's essential life skills. Now, for pensioners, obviously it's not a surprising policy. Pensioners are by far the most loyal supporters of the Conservative Party, and we can see that they really, really want to get their grip on pensioners.
If this government thinks that national service is going to solve the problems of 18-year-olds, then it is completely off its trolley. It'd be like offering somebody in a boat, filling up with water, a sieve. Do they not have any idea what the problems and issues facing 18-year-olds and teenagers are? So many of them have mental health problems. So many of them cannot access the education and the educational environment in which they will thrive.
So now the Tories want to bring back mandatory national service. They say to reinvigorate and instill a sense of national pride. Do you know what a better way to do that would be? Not running the fucking country into the ground. The reason that there is no sense of national pride in younger generations is because there is no fucking reason for it. Because older generations made it damn near impossible for us to ever own property and consistently and continuously call us lazy, despite the fact most of us are working more than full-time hours, some of us multiple jobs, and can barely afford to keep ourselves alive.
Can you understand that if you're a young person, you might be forgiven for thinking that the Conservative Party doesn't like me very much? You triple their tuition. You triple their tuition fees. You took their right to go and work and study in Europe without impediment away. You didn't fund their education pandemic recovery plan properly because your Prime Minister, when he was Chancellor, said you didn't want to find the money. But now you have found the money to make them go and do something when they're fully grown adults at the weekends, or to make them join the military.
We are trying to address some of the challenges, some of the difficulties that young people face. I speak to young people a lot, always have done. My first role in politics was on youth policy at City Hall in London. And when you've heard people say, when I was in London, I heard people say they didn't mix with kids from the next door postcode. You can do one of two things. You can have...
Pensioners don't do that, Home Secretary. Pensioners don't mix with people in the next door postcode. It doesn't mean you're forcing them to go and mix with people.